Hey everyone. Have you ever actually looked at a pill and wondered what's really in there besides, the medicine itself? You'd probably assume it's 100% pure, right? Well, the reality is a little bit more complicated than that. Today, we're going to dive deep into the hidden chemistry of our medications and the global rulebook that's designed to keep every single one of us safe.
So let's get right to it. Every pill has the active drug you need, of course, but it can also have these tiny, microscopic amounts of other substances. So the big question is, what are these other things? And more importantly, how can we be absolutely sure they're safe to consume?
Here's how we're going to break it all down today. First, we'll figure out what these hidden ingredients are. Then, we'll look at the global rulebook that keeps them in check. After that, we'll get into something called the 3 critical safety thresholds, see how the final decision on safety gets made, and then we'll tie it all together and talk about why this matters to you.
All right, first up, what are these so-called hidden ingredients? Well, they're not added on purpose or anything like that. They're actually byproducts that just appear over time. That's because the active ingredient in a drug, just like most chemicals, isn't totally stable forever. It changes.
The official name for this is a degradation product. And here's a good way to think about it. Imagine a perfect loaf of bread from a bakery. That's the pure drug you want. But over time, if you leave it out, expose it to heat or light, it can get these tiny imperfections, right? Like little burnt spots. In a pill, those burnt spots are degradation products. They're just unwanted chemical byproducts.
Okay, so if these unwanted ingredients are forming, how on earth are they controlled? Well, thankfully, there's a global playbook for exactly that. It's a document with a really technical name, ICH Q3B R2. But its purpose is actually super simple, keeping our drugs safe.
And this isn't just one country's set of rules. No, this is a harmonized international standard. It was developed by experts from Europe, Japan, and the United States, and it's used by agencies all over the world, including the FDA. This basically ensures that a drug approved in one part of the world meets the exact same core safety standards as one approved somewhere else. It's a team effort.
Now, this rulebook is pretty specific. It covers new chemically synthesized drugs, so we're not talking about biologics or herbal remedies here. Its main job is to manage those degradation products we just talked about, setting really precise rules for when they have to be reported, when they need to be identified, and when they must be tested for safety.
So how do these rules actually work in practice? Well, the entire system is built on a really simple but powerful idea: clear lines in the sand. In the official guidance, these are called thresholds, and if an impurity crosses one of these thresholds, it triggers a very specific required action. These thresholds create what's called a tiered response system. It's pretty smart. Basically, the more of an impurity that's found, the more action is required from the drug maker. Let's take a look at the 3 levels. First up is the reporting threshold. If an impurity crosses this line, it just can't be ignored anymore. It has to be officially documented. It's step 1. You just have to acknowledge that it's there.
Next up is the identification threshold. Now, if an impurity reaches this higher level, just reporting it isn't good enough. Scientists now have to figure out its exact chemical structure. You have to know exactly what you're dealing with.
And finally, we get to the most critical level of all, qualification. If an impurity is found above this threshold, its safety must be proven. This means gathering actual biological data to establish that it poses no unacceptable risk to patients. This is the ultimate safety check.
This table shows how it works for a sample drug. So, if an impurity is found above 0.1%, it has to be reported. Simple enough. But if it crosses 0.2%, it must then be both identified and qualified, meaning its safety has to be proven. It's a really clear escalating system.
But here's a really crucial point. The rules are not one size fits all. They actually get stricter as the daily dose of the medicine gets higher. Why? Well, because a small percentage of a really large dose can still be a pretty significant amount of an impurity. So you can see here, the allowed percentage for an impurity is way lower for the high-dose drug than it is for the low-dose one.
Let's make this super real for a second. Look at this example. An impurity is found at 0.18% in 2 different drugs. For the low-dose drug, that's a tiny amount, just 90 micrograms, which is safely below its qualification threshold. No problem. But for the high-dose drug, that same 0.18% is 3.4 milligrams. That's a much larger absolute amount, and it's above its threshold. So what's the result? Same percentage, but completely different actions are required. Dose is everything.
Okay, so with all this data on impurities and thresholds and doses, how is the final call actually made? Well, scientists follow a really clear and logical flowchart. It's known as a decision tree.
This decision tree pretty much guides the whole process. It's a series of questions. Is the impurity above the identification threshold? If yes, is its structure known? Is it above the safety threshold? If the answer is yes again, are there any known human risks? And if the answer to that is no, then new studies must be conducted. It's just a systematic path to a safe conclusion.
So at the end of the day, this leaves two main paths to ensuring safety. The first is to go out and do the studies and prove the impurity is safe at its current level. The second option, which can actually be a lot simpler, is to just refine the manufacturing or storage to reduce the impurities level until it's back below that threshold. Either way, you get to the same goal, a safe product.
Okay, I know this has been pretty technical. I get it. But this isn't just some abstract regulatory exercise. This whole process is directly connected to the medicine that's probably sitting in your cabinet right now.
This quote, it's straight from the official guidance, and it really gets to the heart of the whole thing. Safety isn't just an assumption. It has to be established. That word is so key, it means safety is a conclusion you can only reach after a rigorous process of gathering and evaluating scientific data. The bar for proof is set really, really high.
So what's the bottom line for you in all this? First, it means there's a complex, mostly invisible system that's always working to protect you. Second, this system is smart. It adapts its rules based on your specific dose. Third, because these are global standards, safety is a shared priority all around the world. And finally, and maybe most importantly, it means your medicine is tested to be safe not just on day one, but for its entire shelf life.
So the next time you happen to see an expiration date, you'll know it's not just some random number. It's a guarantee, and it's backed by a global system of science, promising that the product inside remains safe and effective. It's really a testament to the incredible complex work of controlling the hidden chemistry in every single pill. Thanks for tuning in.